from the early 1990s. Investigators say updated DNA testing and federal funding helped them link Lothrop to the crimes. He is now facing multiple charges, including rape and kidnapping.
Across the state, students making some major progress in testing, according to data from the state education department. While spring test scores remain behind pre-pandemic levels, they are still the best results in 3 years. Scores improved in most math and reading subjects, and the state's graduation rate is now nearly 88%. That's the highest in a decade.
The Clover School District is growing quickly and adding more than 300 students a year. To help keep up, the district is going to open 3 new schools in 2026. Tonight, though, parents have the chance to weigh in on student reassignment. A meeting is going to be held at 6 at Oak Ridge Middle, with 2 more September 11th and the 16th. The board is going to decide on the final changes September 22nd.
All right, and a final check at those area roadways. Independence inbound is really hardly moving at all. Stop and go traffic, a whole lot of red, meaning that traffic is just hardly moving at this point. Right now, we know the right lane and both shoulders are blocked, so a lot of congestion starting to build. It's at Independence and Pecan Ave. That's where you need to be mindful of that. So if you don't want to deal with that, you may just want to take Monroe Road inbound, as it could get you there a little quicker. Chris?
Okay, we are within a minute of the official sunrise, and check that out. Absolutely gorgeous across Monroe, just reflecting some of those beautiful colors across the clouds and the horizon. But we are getting back to summer status, lower 90s for a couple of days before it actually feels more like October.
Wow, very nice. A reminder, the news doesn't end here. Coming up at 7 o'clock on WCNC Plus, tackling transportation issues, what the governor's doing to eliminate headaches. Plus, report cards are out for North Carolina schools, where CMS stands this morning, and a big boost to areas hit hard by Helene. What the EPA is now doing with some $300 million here in North Carolina.
It all starts at 7 on WCNC Plus. Join us there.
Good morning and thanks for joining us on WCNC Plus at 7. I'm Megan Bragg. We just tapped out for Ben, so here I am.
That's right. Glad to have you
Yeah,
here.
it's good to
Always
be
great
here.
to see you. I'm Lisa Washington. Let's take a live look outside right now. It is another clear morning. It's going to be a great night for football. Of course, this is the kickoff to the new NFL season. And Chris, you have a football forecast for us.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more football-like over the last few days, and now we have that usual early September-like weather that is now on our doorstep, which, by the way, this shot that you see here is zoomed into Bank of America Stadium. This is from our tower cam. It just shows how big of a zoom that we can do here because we're off of Billy Graham Parkway, putting that in perspective. As far as Monroe is concerned, you're gorgeous. I was actually watching Venus through your sky cam just rise up in the morning sky. Now, of course, that the sun is up, you can't see Venus anymore. And then up in Boone, nice mix of clouds and sunshine. But Boone, you have the best chance for rain and storms compared to the other two locations that you see here on our screen. 60 in Monroe and then currently at 63 right around the Charlotte area. 86 degrees, I think, is going to be our top, though. Yesterday we hit 82, technically warmer than the 3 previous days, but we're back to normal. 86 is exactly where we should be for this time of the year. And for the afternoon, it's going to be a breezy one. You can anticipate those wind gusts to get up to around 20 plus miles per hour from time to time. Back into the lower 80s come the early part of the evening, and then overnight tonight it should be a little bit milder, dropping down into the mid to the upper 60s this time. Our muggy meter on the rise. Once you see a 6 in the tens place, it's starting to feel sticky. Once it's 65 plus, then we really have that humid air. 70 is just no good, and that's also going to allow for a little extra storm fuel, especially to the northwest. So this is our first severe risk that we've had issued for our area since August 1st. Big stat of the morning, but we're right on the cusp. This barely just nips part of Mecklenburg County, so I still want Charlotte to be on guard heading into the evening for a passing shower or storm. Here's what that looks like. About 2 to 4 o'clock north of I-40 between about Morganton and Taylorsville, I think that we have some storms. This starts to become a little bit more widespread either side of the I-40 corridor. Once you get to the late afternoon heading into the evening, we'll call that about 4 to 8 o'clock. And some of these could dive a little bit further south involving Charlotte, so I just want you to be on guard. I think our South Carolina counties such as York, Lancaster, I don't think you're going to see any of this action. And then by the conclusion of the evening, we're saying goodbye. For your Friday, we have a slight chance for rain, but it looks to be a little bit lower. It's certainly going to be the western side of our viewing area. Once again, slightest chance for an isolated shower or storm for your Friday. And then for your Saturday, a much better chance, but there is something in our favor. It looks like as this system rolls past the mountains, it starts to weaken and break down a little bit. So it is actually a decaying line. So it still could see some rain by the end of your Saturday, but I think anything before 2 o'clock, you're good for doing things outside. Things get a little bit cloudier really after that anyways. And then once this passes, that's the cold front moving through the overnight, and you're going to notice the big difference. We have the mid 60s for our dew points on Friday, Saturday before they start to tumble on Sunday. Then it's going to be feeling super dry and comfortable yet again. And our 7-day forecast also quickly pivots from the lower 90s on Friday and Saturday to boom, down to the upper 70s on Sunday, heading through the middle of next week. Now, the one caveat here is that we are going to be dealing with some additional cloud cover, so at times we could have some overcast pieces. That's what's also keeping our temperatures down just ever so slightly, but all in all, not too bad of a forecast. Yet again, if you like summer, if you like fall, I got something for everyone on that 7-day. Let's get right over to Majestic. Welcome back to WCNC Plus.
Thank you. Happy to be here, you guys. Well, if you're waking up and you have someplace to be early this morning, wow, what a gorgeous start to the day it is. Overlooking the beautiful Queen City here. Area roadways nice and dry for you. And it seems like we're getting a little sunshine to kick off our Thursday. Watch for some pockets of patchy fog, especially up towards the foothills. Otherwise, we do have those delays that are really starting to build. Not only that, but a handful of ongoing accidents. I'm going to break down a few for you this morning. This one right here, it's a crash that I've been following now for a little while. It's on Tryon Street and University City Boulevard. Not seeing any significant delays with it, though. However, we do have this right here, a lane that's blocked because of an incident. It's on Providence Road, impacting both ways at Colonial Ave. Keep that one in mind. Again, not seeing a lot of backups, but this is going to be our #1 concern for you this morning, at least at this time. Look at Independence inbound. We always have that delay as people are heading towards the uptown area. It's never helpful, though, when we do have an accident, and that's really backing people up. So right lane on Independence inbound is blocked blocked because of a crash. It's going to be right at exit 244 in Briar Creek Road, so keep that in mind. If you want to just avoid it, you may just want to take Monroe instead. And then just to the north, a new crash on I-85 southbound at exit 41, that's Sugar Creek Road. Those are going to be the two main things that I'm really following for you, and that's what I'm looking at for now. We'll have another check on those area roadways coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Majestic. This morning, CATS officials and Charlotte leaders promising changes to the city's transit system. This is a direct response to last month's deadly stabbing on the Blue Line.
WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith is live this morning with more on their plan to improve safety for passengers. Bria.
Yes, Lisa. Well, while the meeting addressed areas for improved safety, it also touched on some of the challenges that the CATS system is up against. Now, CATS, despite their 80% safety rate for passengers, say that there are some areas of improvement to help prevent victims of incidents like Zaretska's. In response to questions by members of the MTC, CATS says some of their desired outcomes would look like enhanced security visibility, a reduction of fare evasion, and support a safe and welcoming environment for employees and riders. However, they say they face security challenges both internally and externally, like staff allocation, ticket verification, and maintaining updated security technologies at facilities. CATS also addressed how mental and public health gaps and how the increased number of unhoused people adds to those challenges. So one local veteran frequently rides on the CATS system and says he was attacked a few weeks ago in a separate incident on a CATS bus. He shares he witnessed Irina Zaretska's attacker, DeCarlos Brown, on several occasions.
Anyone that interacted with him, and I promise you, he was so vulgar. There was no way you could notice him if you had run into him. To be honest with you, he had no business being there to begin with to interact with that person.
Now, the security strategy that was presented at the meeting has a full list of goals. For more on that, visit our WCNC Plus app. For now, reporting live in Uptown, Bria Smith, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, Bria, thanks so much for that report. A lot of people interested in this one. North Carolina's Governor Josh Stein is aiming to tackle the state's growing transportation challenges. At a state transportation summit in Raleigh, he thanked crews for reopening 97% of the roads damaged by Hurricane Helene. The governor also spoke about the state's worker shortage, noting that 1 in 5 government jobs are vacant and more outreach is needed to fill these crucial roles.
We need our current team and potential employees to know that choosing a career of public service will be worth it for them, that state government is a desirable place to build a career.
The governor also called on state lawmakers to pass a budget that includes raises for DOT and other state workers. He says that will help attract and keep employees.
And coming up, why some states are eliminating vaccine mandates. We'll be back in just about 2 minutes. Welcome back. The time is now 7:10. Vice President J.D. Vance and the Second Lady traveled to Minnesota exactly 1 week after the deadly shooting at a Catholic church. They stood in front of a memorial, laid bouquets, and then met privately with the families of the children who died. The Vances also visited the hospital where some of the victims are still recovering. Vice President Vance called the trip heartbreaking but gratifying.
It was obviously a very sad moment, but also in a lot of ways a very rewarding moment that these parents opened up their lives, opened up their hearts. They told me about their kids, they told me about their families, they told me about the community supporting them. And that was just an amazing thing to see, an amazing thing to witness, an amazing thing to get to be a part of.
Over a dozen people were injured in that shooting. 2 children were killed, just 8 and 10 years old.
In just hours, Health Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. is going to be in the hot seat on Capitol Hill, testifying before the Senate Finance Committee. It comes a week after the CDC director was fired, and as Florida moves to become the first state to eliminate vaccine mandates. NBC's Alice Barr has more on today's hearing and how other states are working on their own vaccine recommendations.
With the nation's public health agencies in deep turmoil, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. facing tough questions today in a Senate hearing. Republicans demanding answers, too.
What I'm most interested in is restoring the confidence of the American people in public health in America. And so far that hasn't been done. There's just been too much chaos.
The Senate's top Republican questioning the firing of Centers for Disease Control Director Dr. Susan Menares 1 month into the job, calling for stability and adding that supporting vaccines should not be disqualifying for the new CDC head amid an overhaul to the nation's vaccine approval process and new restrictions on COVID shots that pushed other top CDC officials to resign in protest.
I just saw science really being compromised, and I was concerned about scientific integrity.
Secretary Kennedy, a longtime vaccine skeptic, has said the CDC made missteps during the pandemic and defended the shakeup at the agency.
We are fixing it, and it may be that some people should not be working there anymore.
States now staking out their own rules, with Florida announcing it would eliminate all statewide vaccine mandates, including in schools.
Who am I as a man standing here now to tell you what you should put in your body?
Medical experts raising concerns like this year's deadly measles outbreak in Texas, as blue states, California, Washington, and Oregon plan to coordinate their vaccine recommendations separate from the federal government, pointing to a fractured state of public health. One senator to watch today is Republican Bill Cassidy. Himself a physician, he raised concern about Secretary Kennedy's vaccine skepticism during his confirmation hearing. He's called for oversight of the turnover at the CDC and raised questions about the scientific process at a key vaccine advisory committee. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Today, President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky plan to speak. It comes 2 weeks after President Trump met with Russian President Vladimir Putin about ending the war in Ukraine. President Trump encouraged Putin and Zelensky to meet face to face, but it hasn't happened. Yesterday, Trump said Russia will face consequences if steps aren't taken to end the war.
Today, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson will make a stop in Charlotte. She'll be at the Carolina Theater at 7 this evening to talk about her memoir, Lovely One. Jackson is the first Black woman to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court. She'll share stories about her family's journey beyond segregation and her path to the nation's highest court. Joining her will be Harvey Gantt, Charlotte's first Black mayor, and Clemson's first Black student. Now, we checked and tickets are sold out. Well, coming up, it is Football Night in America, a preview of the NFL season kickoff tonight on NBC.
Well, good morning, everybody. 86 degrees is where we should be, and what do you know? Finally back to normal. It's also feeling a little bit stickier, a little bit more appropriate for the beginning of September, but we've loved the trade-off because it was certainly feeling like fall just because of how much moisture was in the air, super dry. And just letting you know, our highs are quickly changing. Check this out. So 86 degrees is the average high for today. 85 is what it falls to by your Saturday, and then by the first day of fall, we're down to 81 for an average high and 78 for the first days of October. What's really interesting about this is literally we're going to have a temperature range that's within this range, and then also back what we had in the middle of summer, all because of this cold front. This cold front's going to bring us a chance for rain starting on Saturday early afternoon, heading into the evening. So just keep in mind that is how you could end your day. And as this settles down towards the south, we could have some lingering rain for your Sunday heading into Monday, but I think Tuesday looks to be pretty decent as well as a high pressure system starts to move in. It just all depends on what this front is going to do. If it stalls a little bit closer to the Carolinas or on top of the Carolinas, we're dealing with a lot more cloud cover, but regardless, it's going to be a cooler forecast because check this out. Boom! Check out that roller coaster. Average today, lower 90s, just as what we averaged during the middle of July for Friday and Saturday, and then we dropped down to that average October 1st high of 78 degrees for it's a gentle stair climb back to about the lower 80s. As far as our lows go, we're going to be mainly the mid to the upper 60s, so it's a nice exchange from the mid to the upper 50s that we had over the last couple of mornings, but don't get used to it because those are going to be right back before you know it, mid to the upper 50s. What do you know, starting on Monday through all of next week. So fall is definitely winning out this forecast, y'all, so enjoy the summer days while we have them. As far as our rain chances go, I brought these down substantially, but I might have to bring them back up just depending on what that front does. But right now, this would point to a chance for rain on Tuesday, on Sunday, and then again on Saturday. There will be storms on Friday, but it looks to be primarily west of the Charlotte area. As far as the tropics go, I think this is going to be a very busy map about 1 to 2 weeks from now. But in the near term, it's really over the next week that we have a chance that we're talking about Tropical Storm Gabrielle, and there's a 40% chance that happens even in the next 2 days. But I think by the end of the weekend, we're going to be calling this Tropical Storm Gabrielle, and that is going to be heading right towards the Lesser Antilles. There's a lot that can still happen, but if you look closely, you can see the general rotation of the atmosphere. We're hoping that this gets caught up in the Bermuda High and heads right back out to sea, and things are indicating that because that is the Bermuda High, and it is edging a little bit further off towards the east that does drive those typical fish storms away from the U.S. 7-day forecast, as you can see, the lower 90s and then right back to the upper 70s. So I'm a people pleaser, Majestic, so I'm just trying to do a 7-day for everyone.
All right, sounds good to me. A little bit of weather for everyone. We'll take it. Hey, if you're heading out the door right now at 719, this is I-77 at Carowinds. That's mile marker 90. You can see it is definitely getting a bit backed up. I just checked to see if there was an accident, and there is not for this area. Just more people all heading in the same direction, so you know how it goes. Allow for a little extra drive time. Want to let you know about this right here. We have an active crash. 3 lanes are blocked because of it. It's at West Boulevard, impacting both ways at Donald Ross Road. Now notice we do have mainly green, but it's going to be right in the intersection right there. There's a picture of what's going on. So again, keep this in mind at Donald Ross Road and Clanton Road. That's the intersection there. Look at all of the red. That's our stop and go traffic up and down I-77, mainly those inbound lanes. I-85 much of the same, but we also have just a handful of ongoing wrecks. Independence inbound is not a place that you want to be. Look at all of that red. Stop and go. You may just want to take Monroe to try to avoid some of this because right now the right lane is blocked because of a crash. It's impacting westbound lanes after exit 244. That's Briar Creek Road where we do have that active accident. And then just to the north of it, another lane is blocked because of a crash. This time it's at Eastway Drive and Shamrock Drive. All right, Larry, over to you.
Hi, this is Larry Sprinkle. Time for On This Day in History, September 4th. The year was 1998. Google was founded by Larry Page and Sergey Brin. They were both PhD students at Stanford University. There's Sergey and there's Larry taken back in that time, back in 1998. By the way, the original name for Google was Backrub. So we go back in time, September 4th, 1998. Google was founded. I'm Larry Sprinkle, and that's On This Day in History.
All right, now to a live look right now at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. Tonight, the NFL season kicks off in Philly as the defending Super Bowl champions take on the Dallas Cowboys. NBC's Jay Gray is in Philly with the pregame excitement.
Overnight, the city framed in green, steeped in history, home to the Liberty Bell and Declaration of Independence. The real sizzle in Philadelphia comes from cheesesteaks and touchdown, the Eagles.
You know, as much as we're loved in Philadelphia, you know, it's got to take a backseat to the sports teams, especially the Birds.
And this is the moment.
The entire NFL taking a backseat to the Super Bowl champs.
Oh man, that Super Bowl was amazing. Everyone from all the way to New Jersey to Philadelphia, we all just celebrated. It was a very beautiful thing for the city.
A city still celebrating. Fans gearing up and getting ready for opening night.
Yeah, definitely. I would say I would miss nothing. If I have to work, I call out to watch the game. I'm that big a fan, you know.
The new season kicking off right here on NBC.
It's always exciting. I look at September as, well, that's when we'll find out what the NFL is really all about.
The matchup, a classic NFC East rivalry, and fans say beating the Cowboys, a team the city of brotherly love loves to hate, is the perfect way to start the run for another trophy.
You know, one thing you look for another team coming over the Super Bowl is if they're still hungry, and I think the Eagles have that hunger in them.
In a place
May I have a beef steak with provolone?
Sure.
where they know a little something about satisfying a hunger.
Yeah, you know, they really do know a little bit about hunger and satisfying it here. Now, look, the broadcast tonight, it comes with a bit of trivia, a bit of history. It's Thursday, but it is actually the 20th anniversary of Sunday Night Football. And that first game, it was the Manning Bowl, Eli versus Peyton, Giants versus Colts. That's the latest from here in Philadelphia. I'm Jay Gray, NBC News.
Was he talking with food in his mouth?
He sure was.
Come on, Jay. Looked good, though.
Yeah,
All right, check this out. Taylor Swift might perform at the next Super Bowl halftime show. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell didn't give much away, but he said the NFL would love to have Taylor on the stage. When asked if a performance was in the works, Goodell said he can't say anything about it, but it's a maybe. Super Bowl 60, by the way, kicks off February 8th at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California. I think it's just a matter of time.
I know, it's going to happen. And I said this at the 4 o'clock yesterday because we had this trending.
Yes.
It's going to be epic when the Bills are in there and Taylor Swift's singing away.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be great.
You heard it here, folks.
I would like to see her perform. I think her performance would be fun, and it'd be a good year for her. Why not?
You heard her say the Bills were going to
Yeah, that's said. And you know what? It's a great day to daydream, as some people are doing. And that's why we are overlooking Bank of America, outlooking just maybe what is only going to be a dream in some people's minds. Now, welcome to football season officially starts. It's anyone's game. Hey, my team, the Patriots, is even tied for #1 right now. We'll be right back after the break with another update of weather, traffic, and, of course, all the news you need to know. Well, good morning, everyone. Depends where you are. It should be a beautiful looking day. We have a sunny to a mostly sunny start, and then we're going to give way to more clouds during the afternoon. High temperatures getting in the mid 80s this time and matching where we should be for this time of year. Also, if you're going to be on an evening walk, great evening to see a bright waxing gibbous moon. It's really going to be picture perfect, but areas northwest have a chance for severe storms. So it's right in this section that has the best chance for storms. First time that we actually had this map activated since August 1st. It's been mainly just rain or no rain, no big storms. And in between about 2 and 4, we're starting to see signs of some activity really north of I-40. If you live from Charlotte to the north, you do have a chance for storms to end the afternoon and begin the evening by after sunset. So we're talking about 8 to 10, most of those storms are getting out of here. And then we have a chance for storms really each and every day. But I think it's really today and your Saturday has the best chance. 90s to the 70s after that. Majestic, take it away.
All right, good Thursday morning, everyone. We do have our typical slowdowns up I-77 and I-85. Those inbound lanes definitely slowed down, but we do want to let you know about this right here. 3 lanes are currently blocked because of a crash. It's on West Boulevard, impacting all lanes at Donald Ross Road. Here's a picture of it. You can see it right there in the intersection, so allow for a few extra minutes to get to where you need to be.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Megan Bragg. Tonight, parents in Clover, you've got the chance to sound off. Schools there facing big growing pains with hundreds of new students enrolling each year.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards joins us in the studio this morning. And Destiny, these school districts are having trouble keeping up with the number of students.
Yeah, families will have their chance to weigh in on these major changes in person tonight. The district is holding the first of 3 public forums on new attendance lines that will nearly impact every school as Clover prepares to open 3 new campuses in 2026. Now, Clover School District is growing fast, adding up to 300 students a year. To keep up, 3 new schools will open in 2026, and the district recently unveiled draft maps showing how attendance lines could shift. The new Liberty Hill Elementary is expected to open with about 800 students, helping balance out the other elementary schools. Roosevelt Middle will reduce crowding at Clover and Oak Ridge Middle Schools, and Clover High, now packed with more than 2,800 students, will split with Lake Wiley High, leaving both schools well below capacity by 2027. District leaders are asking families to weigh in now so their voices can help shape the new attendance zones before they're finalized.
When you have 8 elementary schools, you would think that's really just going to be a certain part of your community, but almost every school's zone is going to be touched. There may be minor touches in some, but almost every school zone is going to change in some way.
Tonight's forum starts at 6 p.m. at Oak Ridge Middle School. 2 more sessions are scheduled for September 11th at Clover Middle School and then September 16th at the District Auditorium. Those start at 6 p.m. as well. And families can also give feedback online. We have a link where you can do so in this story on the WCNC News app. And the school board is expected to vote on final attendance boundaries on September 22nd. Lisa.
Destiny, just for clarification, this actually starts next school year. I know the superintendent says, growth is an issue in a lot of our districts, but this was a school that a district that had, 1 high school forever, and now there's going to be a 2 high school kind of town. So that really is a big deal.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's all to line up with those new schools opening. Liberty Hill Elementary, Roosevelt Middle, and then Lake Wiley High School. And then there are also some guidelines that the school district is using to make sure that, this is agreeable for everyone. Some of those are making sure that, they're not splitting up neighborhoods, that they're using highways and main thoroughfares, main roads to draw those attendance lines. And they also really want to keep each school at 80% capacity or below. So they don't want the schools to get too crowded. And yeah, they're just really trying to make sure that this is something that's going to benefit families, benefit the schools so that they can have a great learning experience because the classrooms aren't too full. And we'll just see what happens when that vote happens on September 22nd.
All right. Thanks, Destiny. Check in with Chris now for details on our forecast, the return of summer-like weather.
Okay, let's do it. Turn it up. We have the mid-80s today and then the lower 90s the 2 days following. And then after that, it's right back to absolute fall status. And I've loved seeing the moon recently. I'm not sure if you maybe took an evening walk yesterday. It was absolutely gorgeous. But earlier this morning when I was coming into work, it was bright. It was even a little bit orangey as it was close to the horizon. And because of the time that I think that you see this setting right around 4:25, it will likely look really big in the horizon if, say, if you're going to be up late or getting up super early. So really a perfect moon setting. Joining us for the entirety of the evening and most of the overnight. Moon status, it is 86.9% bright. And then that means it's going to be full here soon, officially on September 7th. Now, our severe weather risk is really divided right now. I think it's really along the I-40 corridor, but it's always within about a 25-mile range whenever you have maps like this, that there's going to be kind of that deviation of error. So that would include the Concord, Charlotte, even the Rock Hill area. But I think it's primarily the further north you go, there's going to be a better chance for storms. So here's what it looks like. Between about 2 and 4, that's going to be the best probability that you're first seeing a storm or two. And since we do have the right storm fuel, the right lift over here, this is going to be actually a really good shot for some stronger thunderstorms, especially once you get to about 5 to 6 o'clock. Notice how scattered this is. And then I'm going to actually zoom in a little bit. By about 7 o'clock, notice how close this is to the Charlotte area, around Westport, Kannapolis. That means likely there was a shower that was a little bit closer to about the Mooresville and Cornelius area. So I would say anyone in Mecklenburg County, anytime between about 5 and 9, especially around the Huntersville area to even around the Paw Creek area, could potentially have a passing shower or storm. And then once you get to about 11 to midnight, everything is out of our hair. So good news there. Then we head into a much more humid environment. Today is a little bit sticky, especially by the evening. The mid-60s showing humid air taking over. And then another cold front is going to strip things down. So this cold front is really vital for our forecast, but it also leads some uncertainty for the near term because it pushes through on Saturday. When it drops, that's going to lead a lot of cloud cover. So this is 7 a.m. on Sunday. Notice that there's some rain that potentially could wrap around, so that's dependent there. And then you have a high pressure system that might be close enough to clear things out for your Tuesday, but as long as this hovers down to the south, it's still injecting extra moisture into the area that could give us a chance for showers and storms. But for right now, it looks like it's going to be stalling just far enough away that we will see more sunshine than cloud cover. So fingers crossed, we don't have big changes there. Monroe is absolutely gorgeous. I just really want to show you how our day is starting out before where it goes to more clouds in the afternoon. And it looks like a lot of sunshine for your Friday as well. There will be a chance for storms off towards the west. Saturday, I think before 2, you're perfectly dry, so you can do any summertime activities like going to a splash pad, going to the pool. After that, it's fall, y'all. Bust out the pumpkin spices. The upper 70s and even starting off in the mid to the upper 50s Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday morning. So Majestic, September September just can't make up its mind, just like August.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, that's for sure. At least we get some sunshine today. I look forward to that this morning. Let's take a look at some of those drive times because, boy, they are definitely starting to pick up. 47 minutes now if you're coming in from Matthews, about 50 minutes if you're coming in from Gastonia, over 70 from Salisbury. This is I-77 at mile marker 90. That's out towards Carowinds. This is not an accident. This is just a lot of people all heading in the same direction. You can see all the lanes definitely congested. It's still moving. It's just going to take you a little longer. So just allow for some extra drive time this morning. We have a whole lot of red that's still popping up on my map. Remember, red is just meaning stop and go conditions and our typical watch spots, but we also have a handful of ongoing wrecks. This one here, 3 lanes blocked because of a crash. It's on West Boulevard at Donald Ross Road. So you can see some of those impacts there. This is a picture of the ongoing accident. You can see it's really just right in the middle of the intersection. So not completely blocked off, but it is going to definitely cause some delays. We have all of that red along I-77 inbound, much of the same along I-85 inbound. And look at Independence. This is why it's taking so long to get from Matthews into the uptown area. It's because right now the right lane, it's still blocked because of a crash. It's at exit 244. That's Briar Creek Road. You can see all of that red. So if you want to try to avoid some of it, maybe just try to take Monroe inbound. Just to the north of it, another lane is blocked because of a crash. This one is at Eastway Drive and Shamrock Drive. You can see the orange here indicating slow moving traffic at this time. And then just to the north, I-85, if you are taking that this morning, southbound lanes are being impacted by this. It's at exit 41, that's Sugar Creek Road, as we do have an active accident there as well. Megan.
All right, thanks, Majestic. Folks in York County are seeing some relief after a boil water advisory is finally lifted. Officials first issued the advisory following a water main break in Fort Mill Saturday evening. The break happened near Highway 21 and Carthorpe Road when an old pipe ruptured. Well, coming up, Charlotte Mecklenburg schools with a big reason to smile, the historic gains in student achievement. We're back in about 2 minutes.
.41 now. An update this morning for parents. CMS releasing a statement saying its connection issues continue. The district is actively working with its vendor to resolve it as quickly as possible. You might remember we told you about this yesterday. There is a problem with the school's filtering system when the devices like those Chromebooks are off the CMS network, meaning that the students could have a problem connecting to the internet outside of school.
And speaking of CMS, the district celebrating historic gains in student achievement. Yesterday, district leaders revealed their historic 2024 to 2025 accountability results. It shows how CMS compares to other school districts across the state.
Of the 175 schools that receive a growth score and a school performance grade, 156, that's 89.1% of Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools met or exceeded growth last year. This is the highest number and percent of schools meeting or exceeding growth in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools history. And of course, a significant increase over the 146 schools that met or exceeded growth last year. Of the 150 schools, 6 schools meeting or exceeding growth, 115, that's 65.7%, exceeded growth last year. This is also the highest number and percent of schools exceeding growth in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools history.
Well, CMS officials highlighted dramatic improvements across nearly every measure of student performance. 70% of Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools earned a school performance grade of A, B, or C. CMS leaders also outlined how they plan to maintain progress within the classroom.
Looking forward, our plan is to continue to build on this foundation. We will refine how we use data, provide professional learning to strengthen small group and arts integrated instruction, and deepen our partnerships with families and community organizations.
CMS now ranks 10th out of 115 public school districts statewide for schools meeting growth targets, the highest ranking in district history.
While Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools made significant gains overall, some schools aren't performing as well. District leaders say several schools received grades of D or F after the academic year. As WCNC Charlotte's Siobhan Raleigh explains, some say there is still a long way to go.
Beth Daniel, who's a former teacher, says though she's relieved CMS experienced historic academic progress last school year, she still worries about the schools that received D and F grades.
Try to figure out what's wrong. Why are they performing that poorly?
And look what happened.
CMS Chief Strategy and Innovation Officer Beth Thompson says despite the schools that experience shortfalls, there's still significant progress.
30% received a letter grade of D or F, a decrease of 11.7%. And 55 schools improved their school performance grade from the 23-24 to 24-25 school year.
Data from the previous school year reveals CMS saw a total of 6 F-rated schools.
When North Carolina looks at the combination of the measures we've just reviewed, school growth and school performance grades, and sees that schools aren't growing students at the accelerated rate needed to make significant enough increase in proficiency, students receive a designation called low performing.
Daniel says based on her experience as a former high school teacher, several factors can impact a student's performance in the classroom.
Kids come to school with a lot of problems, and so sometimes what's going on at home affects how they do in school.
And it is important to note 31 schools no longer have a state low performing designation. CMS saw historic numbers with 89.1% of the district meeting or exceeding growth. Back to you.
Coming up, Majestic Storm has a check on your morning commute.
Welcome back to the time now. 7:47. More money is heading back to North Carolina. The Environmental Protection Agency announcing more than $300 million will be sent to the state to help improve water infrastructure following damage from Hurricane Helene. Officials say these funds are critical to the state as it recovers and looks to the future to build more resilient systems that can withstand severe weather.
And good morning, everybody. Let's check it out from our WCNC Tower Cam. All is well to begin the day. And those dew points are actually around a decent range. They are going to be on the rise. Oftentimes they'll drop off ahead in the afternoon. That's not the case. We're blasting winds out of the south. And speaking of, it is going to be a breezy day. Times going to have some wind gusts up to about 20 miles per hour. So a significant sway to the trees from time to time. And then we also have a chance for some gusty winds from some thunderstorms, and mainly in the areas that are in the blue that are dealing with the slightly cooler starts, such as North Wilkesboro, about a 2-degree downgrade. And current temperatures right now, 63 degrees. So we're living our lows for the morning. 59 around Hickory and Morganton, 54 for you in Boone, and then 59 over here in Shiraz. So Charlotte, the hot spot, the warm spot, and we will see a nice little catch up for Lancaster and Rockingham, getting into the upper 80s even. And then look where we're going. The lower 90s under sunny to mostly sunny skies, but Saturday does have a better chance for a little bit of rain. Let's check out our dew points. We've been in a very comfortable range, really even below the sticky threshold, but we're going to be right back to that humid air, not quite the air you can wear, but close enough once you get to about Saturday and Sunday, and then boom, we have a big drop off behind a cold front. The next rain chances, I really think it's going to be later on this evening after 6 for Charlotte, and then a much better chance after 2 for the foothills and the mountains. That's including Morganton, I think, seeing the first round of those storms. And then our Saturday afternoon has the highest chance for thunderstorms, but already we have a low risk, just a very low risk for storms along this line into the north. But there is a 25-mile deviation, so that does technically include the Charlotte area, but most of these storms are staying up here. So let me move. 5 o'clock. Seeing more widespread and some stronger activity between Hickory and Statesville. Then it starts to push into Rowan County by about 6 to 7 o'clock, but some of these are nipping the Huntersville area, northern Gastonia around Dallas as well. So the top part of Mecklenburg County and even parts of the 485 loop could be impacted by this as we get a little bit closer to sunset. So that means really a better chance for storms closer to Charlotte. It's going to be between about 4 and 8 o'clock, I think, primarily, and then things start to wind down after that. Getting to your extended forecast, check out our lows. We have the mid to the upper 60s before back down to the mid to the upper 50s. And the next 3 days, if you like summer, enjoy them, because after that, boom, either side of 80 degrees Sunday heading into next weekend. Majestic, let's go over to you for your morning traffic. How's it looking so far?
All right, good Thursday morning, everyone. Well, we definitely have those delays. Take a look at some of those drive times. If you are heading into from Salisbury into Charlotte, it's taking you about 80 minutes. 43 if you're coming in from Matthews, Gastonia, over 50. So we're seeing some significant delays that you'll want to know about as you are heading out the door this morning. Let's get to our maps right here. We have a whole lot of red that's really starting to back up. Those are our typical slowdowns. You can see it along I-85, I-77, 485. But in addition to that, we have a handful of ongoing wrecks that you'll want to know about. This one here, still following it very carefully because 3 lanes are currently blocked because of a crash. It's on West Boulevard and Donald Ross Road. This one still has not been cleared. You can see there are some police officers there, and it's right in the intersection, so make sure you are mindful of that. Otherwise, still keeping an eye on Independence as well. All of that red indicates stop and go traffic. And right now, the right lane is blocked because of a crash up towards Briar Creek Road.
Majestic, thanks. The NFL season kicks off tonight, and the Carolina Panthers are preparing for their first game on Sunday.
Sports director Nick Carboni talked one-on-one with the team's first-round draft pick about what to expect this season.
Man, draft night was a blur. But, yeah, I mean, I feel like I was a little surprised. But then at the same time, you know, I feel like a lot of people vouch for me in this facility. So, you know, and that just goes to show, you know, how the belief they have in me, you know, just for picking basically opposite of what everybody thought. So just, you know, my job is to, you know, make sure I can prove them right.
Your relationship with Bryce Young started before the draft. Tell me about working out with him, and he was one of the guys that said, hey, bring in T-Mac.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously a blessing. You know, I grew up watching him, playing against him. Never got the chance to catch the ball from him, throw with him, work out with him, and then, somehow, some way, we got to work out in Cali a few weeks before the draft. So being able to finally, come full circle, it's a blessing, man, and I'm looking forward to what we can do this year.
And you mentioned in camp, but how important is being quarterback friendly to you in the NFL?
It's super important. Obviously in my eyes, quarterback is the hardest position to play in football. So anything that I can do to make Bryce's job easier, to make Andy's job easier, I'm gonna do that. And at the end of the day, it's about me, gaining their trust, being confident, them being confident in my play and my ability to go up and make a play.
How many of the guys on this roster besides you know what a libero is?
Man, I promise you, not more than people on one hand can tell you what a libero is.
How did volleyball help you as a receiver, if it does?
I give volleyball a lot of credit to, my successes on the football field, specifically, the body control, just whether on the ground or in the air, being a pogo stick, coming off the ground fast, and then as well as just high pointing the ball, meeting the ball at its highest point, and those are all the things I gotta translate to the football field, so those definitely help me for sure.
What do you know about the Carolina Panthers and their fan base in the couple of months that you've been here, and how bad they want this team to return to that glory they've had?
I don't know too much, but I know we got some diehard fans around here, man, and I'm just looking forward to putting smiles on the people of Charlotte and light up Bank of America Stadium.
And you start on the road. What do you think is going to be flowing through you before that first NFL game in Jacksonville?
Obviously the nerves. It's going to be my first NFL game. Can never get down my back, so that's going to be a big moment for me. Just take it all in, be grateful, be blessed for every opportunity I get, and hopefully we can come home with a W.
Come home with a W. You can watch much more of the Panthers countdown to kickoff right now and right here on WCNC Plus, as well as the WCNC YouTube page. A quick break right now, but we're back with more weather and traffic in just 2 minutes.
Well, good morning, everybody. We have a clear to a mostly clear sky. That's prime time if you have all the right ingredients stacked for some fog, and that's exactly what we have right around Hickory over to Burke County. A little bit of light rain is also going to be a possibility, but for the Charlotte area, Rock Hill, down in Lancaster, and Rockingham, it's going to look like this for most of the morning before we pick up more clouds heading into the afternoon. So I think our first signs of storms right around 2 o'clock, by the way, and it's really around the I-40 corridor that I think that we have the most tumultuous forecast to end the afternoon. And then it's some of our areas just north of Charlotte. Charlotte, you're right on the cusp of this, seeing storms to end the afternoon, heading into the evening. Really looks to be the best timing for us, anywhere between about 4 and 9 o'clock. And then eventually this area is going to slowly wind down. 7-day forecast, lower 90s Friday and Saturday, but then quickly as a front pushes through with the chance for storms on Saturday, we're back to the upper 70s. Let's get over to Majestic.
All right, good morning, everyone. Want to let you know about a big accident. It's on I-85. You can see my map right here. We have a handful of accidents, but really, this is going to be the most important one that you'll want to know about before you head out the door. You can see exactly where it's at. 2 lanes right now are blocked because of the crash. It's on I-85 southbound, exit 49. That's Concord Mills Boulevard. There it is on my map. There's a live picture from what's going on. It is still moving, but you can still see some emergency responders are there on scene. Allow for extra drive time.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us live on WCNC Plus at 8. I'm Megan Bragg.
And I'm Lisa Washington. This morning, CATS officials and Charlotte leaders promising changes to the city's transit system. This is a direct response to last month's deadly stabbing on the Blue Line.
WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith is live with more on their plan to improve safety for passengers. Good morning, Bria.
Good morning to you all. And while the meeting addressed areas for improved safety throughout the system, it also touched on some of the challenges that the CATS system does face. Now, CATS does mention that while there's an 80% safety rate for passengers on a light rail train, there are some areas of improvement to help prevent victims of incidents like Zarutskas. In response to questions by members of the MTC, CATS says some of their desired outcomes would look like enhanced security visibility, a reduction of fare evasion, and support a safe and welcoming environment for employers and riders. However, they say they face security challenges both internally and externally, like staff allocation, ticket verification, and maintaining updated security technologies at facilities. CATS also addressed how mental and public health gaps and how the increased number of unhoused people adds to those challenges. Still, one local veteran frequently rides on the CATS system and says he was attacked a few weeks ago in a separate incident on a CATS bus. He shares he witnessed Irina Zarutska's attacker, DeCarlos Brown, on several occasions.
Anyone that interacted with him, and I promise you, he was so vulgar, there was no way you couldn't notice him if you had run into him. To be honest with you, he had no business being there to begin with to interact with that person.
Now, the security strategy that was presented at the meeting does have a full list of goals. More of those details can be found on our WCNC Plus app. Back to you guys.
All right, Bria, thanks so much for that update. Of course, a lot of people interested in that following that deadly stabbing. Let's check in now with Chris to find out more about our forecast for this Thursday, the 4th day of September.
And it has already all been all over the place. Today is actually returned to where we should be, about 86, so that's matching up the corner there. And then we have now begun our warm-up for the day, 65 degrees. Much thicker clouds the further west that you go, around the Boone area over to Hickory, but a lot more sunshine down towards the southeast. And that's why we really have a forecast of 2 areas that it's going to be north of this line here. That's the low chance for a severe storm a little bit later on today, really starting around 2 till about 10. Looks to be most of the activity. But as you can see, a lot of these storms are really guiding above this line, but it's really just north of Charlotte. There's some areas like Huntersville, Dallas, you could get nipped by these storms as late as 10 o'clock. So just keep that in mind if you have any evening plans overall. And as of right now, we don't have really a lot on the map, and then there will be some subtle changes as we work our way through the next couple of days. But the biggest one is really going to be cranking up Mother Nature's thermostat, as those temperatures are going to be starting to jump up into the lower 90s and then even dropping down to the upper 70s. Because look at the difference. We have 91 to 78, 79s, and then back to the lower 80s. This time of year, it definitely should be a little bit more mix of the middle part of the 80s. But as you can see here, our normal highs are going to drop down significantly as we work our way through the month. Once we get to September 22nd, your calendar is going to agree that it is officially fall. And then we have the upper 70s come October 1st. The most interesting part that I have across this is that literally our 7-day forecast has this entire temperature range and plus some. During the middle of July, the hottest days of July, the average high is 91 degrees. That's exactly what we have for your Friday and Saturday. And then, as I just showed you, 78 degrees is the average high for the first day of October. So you're literally ranging from mid-July to early October as far as our highs go. And as far as those lows are concerned, mid to the upper 50s definitely going to be creating some cooler mornings going forward. Heading into the weekend, the biggest story is going to be a cold front. This cold front is going to be the main reason why we are going to be cooling down substantially as that pushes its way down towards the south and east. And the biggest question that I have, and I don't have a lot of rain chances for the time being, I think rain will stick around for your Sunday and again into your Monday. But depending on how far south this front is going to sink and stall, that's going to be dependent on how much cloud cover we see and also how much rain showers we're potentially going to see as we start to see that high pressure system retreat. This system can also move back in a little bit later on in the week. So even though our rainfall chances look to be very low in the near term, these might have to come back down. But right now, everything is pointing towards it moves to the south, it stalls there. And we have limited rain chances, with Saturday being your best chance for rain by the back end of it. Coming up, I'm going to go through all the chances for rain heading into the weekend, when you could expect the line of thunderstorms, and seeing if there's any more severe weather threats heading into the weekend like what we have today. In the meantime, let's head over to Majestic, who's had a very busy morning commute.
It has gotten very, very busy. It is 8:05 right now. If you are getting ready to head out the door and start your Thursday morning, the good news is it's beautiful outside. We have a whole lot of sunshine currently in place. This is I-77 at Atondo Ave. You can see overlooking beautiful uptown area roadways are getting busy as more people are awake and starting their day. A handful of wrecks this morning, still following this right here. Earlier we had 2 accidents on I-85. This one is still popping up on my map. I think it's really getting cleared up. However, there's still a ton of red associated with it. So still following this. This is going to be on I-85 southbound, specifically at exit 49. So clearing up, but those impacts are still there. There's a look at some of those drive times this morning. If you're coming in from Gastonia, it's going to take you 46 minutes, 85 minutes this morning if you're coming in from Salisbury. So make sure you plan accordingly, as it is quite messy out there. Independence has been really one of my watch spots this morning because of this crash that's significantly delaying people. You know how it goes. Independence usually has those delays, but look at that, it actually just disappeared. So it looks like we're making some progress there. We've been following that exit 244 where the crash was, but those delays surely are still there. So you might just want to take Monroe inbound if you want to try to avoid some of it. If not, it has since cleared. Right now, still following this, a lane is blocked because of a crash. This time it's at Eastway Drive at Shamrock Drive. We're seeing some of that orange there, meaning that traffic is moving rather slowly. And then finally, just want to let you know that this accident on I-85 I-95 southbound at exit 41. That Sugar Creek Road is no longer there either, so making some progress. Those are the big things I'm looking at for now. We'll have another check on those roads next time I see you back here in just a few.
Majestic, thanks. So we are just a couple of hours away from the grand opening of a new terminal at the Lancaster County Airport. County leaders and residents are going to cut that ribbon this morning at 10. They say the new terminal boosts travel options and supports local businesses, all while showing the county's commitment to growth and better infrastructure.
Well, coming up, a warning about new rabies cases in local towns in about 2 minutes. Welcome back. Time is 8:09. This morning, Lincoln County marking its 9th rabies case of the year. A raccoon tested positive after neighbors caught it acting strangely. No pets or people were exposed, but some cattle are being checked out. A free rabies clinic for residents is happening on Saturday, October 4th at the Lincoln County Health Department. Meantime, a bat in Matthews tested positive for rabies. Matthews Animal Control says the bat was found near J. Wick Lane. They tell us one person and one pet were exposed. If you or any of your pets have come into contact with a bat in that area, you're asked to contact the Mecklenburg County Health Department.
In just hours, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is going to be in the hot seat on Capitol Hill testifying before the Senate Finance Committee. It comes a week after the CDC director was fired and as Florida moves to become the first state to eliminate vaccine mandates. NBC's Alice Barr has more on today's hearing and how other states are working on their own vaccine recommendations.
With the nation's public health agencies in deep turmoil, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. facing tough questions today in a Senate hearing. Republicans demanding answers, too.
What I'm most interested in is restoring the confidence of the American people in public health in America. And so far that hasn't been done. There's just been too much chaos.
The Senate's top Republican questioning the firing of Centers for Disease Control Director Dr. Susan Menares 1 month into the job, calling for stability and adding that supporting vaccines should not be disqualifying for the new CDC head amid an overhaul to the nation's vaccine approval process and new restrictions on COVID shots that pushed other top CDC officials to resign in protest.
I just saw science really being compromised, and I was concerned about scientific integrity.
Secretary Kennedy, a longtime vaccine skeptic, has said the CDC made missteps during the pandemic and defended the shakeup at the agency.
We are fixing it, and it may be that some people should not be working there anymore.
States now staking out their own rules, with Florida announcing it would eliminate all statewide vaccine mandates, including in schools.
Who am I as a man standing here now to tell you what you should put in your body?
Medical experts raising concerns like this year's deadly measles outbreak in Texas, as blue states, California, Washington, and Oregon plan to coordinate their vaccine recommendations separate from the federal government, pointing to a fractured state of public health. One senator to watch today is Republican Bill Cassidy. Himself a physician, he raised concern about Secretary Kennedy's vaccine skepticism during his confirmation hearing. He's called for oversight of the turnover at the CDC and raised questions about the scientific process at a key vaccine advisory committee. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
A federal judge in Boston has ordered the Trump administration to restore nearly $2 billion in federal grants to Harvard. Yesterday, a U.S. district judge ruled the termination of those grants was illegal, calling it retaliatory. The Trump administration has said it froze the funds because of Harvard's lack of response to anti-Semitic incidents on campus. While the judge agreed that the university should have done a better job of dealing with the issue, there was little in connection between grant funding, research, and anti-Semitism at the school.
8:13 now. It's time for us to connect the dots. That's when we make the news make sense. Holiday shopping season is around the corner, but this year many Americans are rethinking how much they'll spend. A new study shows holiday wallets are tightening this year, and Gen Z is leading the charge. Let's connect the dots. A recent survey of 4,000 U.S. consumers found average planned holiday spending is down about 5% from last year, the sharpest drop since the early pandemic. Spending on gifts is taking a bigger hit, expected to fall from $814 to $721. But the most dramatic change comes from Gen Z. They plan to reduce their holiday budgets by 23%, a stark turnaround from the 37% increase they showed in 2024. Most consumers expect to cut spending over the next 6 months, especially on clothing, big-ticket items, and dining out. Inflation, higher prices, and lingering tariff uncertainty are making shoppers more cautious. And that's connecting the dots. Coming up here on WCNC Plus, as we approach the one-year anniversary of Hurricane Helene, we catch up with the Boone man who finally has a home 1 year after the devastating storm. This month marks 1 year since Hurricane Helene devastated western North Carolina. And now a Boone man is finally getting the keys to his new home after months of delays, displacement, and determination.
But as they celebrate this milestone, WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris explains why they're also preparing for the possibility that another storm could test their community again.
It's completely surreal. Completely surreal.
Moving day has been a long time coming for Kurt Hubbard, who experienced not one, but two storms with Helene and Milton.
You know, it's like 3, 4 a.m., just weird wind, the trees popping, the mountain groaning, everything was just roaring.
When Hurricane Helene struck last September, Boone saw catastrophic flooding.
So this is where I was staying.
The storm forced Hubbard to live in his small escape lodge home until work on his new home was finished. But the road to get here was a long one.
Probably delayed about 6 months though. Yeah. And you know, just trying to get raw materials, there's a delay on our doors. There's still some things in here that have not come in. They're just not readily available.
After 11 months of building hurdles and tens of thousands of dollars, Kurt was finally able to move in last month.
But like right after storm, this looked like a riverbed.
Adjustments outside the new home were a must as Kurt prepares for the possibility of future disasters.
What I've done now is reinforced it more with the deadfall to make a V above my house. So if the water hits it again, it'll go naturally. So we recut this whole thing since then, redid the driveway because you couldn't even get up this thing.
Hubbard's story is one of hundreds playing out across western North Carolina as families work to rebuild not just their homes, but their sense of security after Hurricane Helene.
I'll find myself standing and looking through a room, looking at a wall for 10 minutes going, I can't believe I'm standing here. Absolutely surreal.
As western North Carolina continues its long recovery, stories like Kurt's reminds us that resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about building forward. In Boone, I'm Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
And I'll never actually forget the meeting that we had because Miles is the one that headed up to the mountains. And I looked at him seriously and I was like, Miles, this is going to be one of the worst events that you've ever covered. And absolutely verified. It was absolutely surreal, the images that came from Helene, and to see how much recovery has happened over the last year is just absolutely amazing. So shout out to everyone here in the Carolinas who have helped in any way, maybe donating $1 to spending your time up there. It really just shows how great this community is. 80% chance for development over the next 7 days, only a 40% chance over the next 2 days. But we are watching this one pretty closely because likely in the next 7 days, we're talking about a potential hurricane being right around the Lesser Antilles. So that's going to affect some of the islands. Also, if you have any trips planned. But then once you get to days 8 to 14, one of two things is going to happen. Either it's going to make a direct turn to the north, close to Bermuda, likely off towards the east, or it continues a little bit further west, and that's one that we are really going to be watching from the Carolinas and from the United States in general. I like scenario number 1, so let's keep it that way. As far as the Atlantic hurricane names, this will soon be Tropical Storm Gabrielle, even Hurricane Gabrielle, and this is going to be in that hotspot zone that Aaron was as well that could go through rapid intensification, so easily becoming a strong storm. But this doesn't even have an investigation number yet, so it's still pretty far out. The next coming names after Gabrielle will be Umberto, Imelda, Jerry, and Karen. I'm looking at you, Imelda, because this is always the most retired letter that we had back-to-back years that the I name was actually retired not too long ago. Ocean temperatures had a pretty good range as well, anywhere from average to above average. And when I say pretty good average, I mean like it's feeling pretty good as if you're going to be out there swimming about. But these are the type of temperatures, anything that's above average, that leads to more rapid intensification and a better chance for a quick forming thunderstorm. And a main forecasting tool that we use here, and then I showed you a lot of this in my Weather IQ yesterday, is going to be the patterns. Where's the atmosphere going? Because the atmosphere flows up and down, east to west, west to east, and that's what we usually see for the trade winds. But it's this Bermuda high that just settles over the United States that's going to control our forecast. The closer this is to the coast and the United States, the better chance that those storms can get steered into the coast, especially the ones that are sticking out like North Carolina. But the good news is this does look like it backtracks a little bit further to the east. This potentially would be Gabrielle passing the Lesser Antilles by about next Saturday and Sunday. And then notice these winds in arrows. This is really that weird zone. If it gets caught in this little area, then it potentially could move its way to the west. I think things are trending a little bit more to carry these arrows just east of Bermuda. This is one that we have to watch. 8 to 14 days out still, but a lot can change over the weekend and then heading into next week. 7-day forecast, mid-80s, back to where we should be. I always have our average highs and lows in the upper right corner, by the way, every morning here on WCNC Charlotte and WCNC Plus. Back to the lower 90s. Enjoy summer before we're, boom, right back to the upper 70s, which, by the way, Sunday will still be a little bit on the humid side, but it is actually going to start to feel much better heading into next week. We have that cool, crisp air returning, so another dose of fall heading into the middle of next week. There's your weather report. I'm going to get right over to Majestic, who has had just a full force morning so far, coming back for the first day.
Good morning, everyone. It has been very busy along those area roadways, but the silver lining is at least it's beautiful outside. A whole lot of sunshine. Maybe you're heading out for a morning run or a walk, or maybe you're just getting ready to head out the door to head to work. This is a few things you'll want to know. Area roadways are definitely starting to get more jam-packed as more people are up and starting their day. We have our typical delays along I-85, I-77, but as you can see, we also have just a handful of ongoing active accidents. This right here is just a stalled vehicle, but you can see the colors around it, meaning that cars are actually being impacted by it. It's at Matthews Township Parkway and Fullwood Lane. That orange there, meaning that cars are moving rather slowly. Look at 485 right around Matthews. It is definitely jam-packed. All of that red, again, just slowing people down, indicating that cars are moving slowly out that direction. Here's something new. We're following this one again. It was actually an accident earlier. It was cleared, and now we have another one. A lane is blocked because of it. It's a Eastway Drive and Shamrock Drive. Keep that one in mind. And then over to the east, you can see Albemarle Road and Blair Road. An active crash is underway. So make sure you're taking it easy as you're heading out the door. Pay attention. Grab those sunglasses. It is beautiful outside, but we definitely have a lot going on this morning.
All right, thanks, Majestic. Guys, there are still a lot of zeros up for grabs, with the Powerball jackpot soaring once again to $1.7 billion after no one won last night's drawing.
This is getting insane.
It's insane.
Now, as if that weren't exciting enough, ahead of the drawing, Illinois Lottery held a free Powerball ticket grab yesterday. People had just a few seconds to grab as many Powerball tickets as they could, with more than 1,000 up for grabs. Saturday's drawing, by the way, Megan, is going to be the third largest in the game's history. I was just saying, somebody can just give you $1 million and not even blink, because you're talking about $1.7 billion.
Love it.
Even with taxes, that's still an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but you keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're going to have another update on weather and traffic. Right now, you're taking a live look at the Bank of America Stadium. Of course, the Panthers are going to have their first game on Sunday when they take on the Jacksonville Jaguars in Florida.
Two different forecasts. For one, we have a cloudier sky and some rain for the mountains now moving into Burke County. The rest of us look like this. Sunshine galore, 65 around Charlotte, 65 around Rockingham. So what forecast do you have? If you live in the yellow, you have a chance for showers and thunderstorms to complete the afternoon heading into the evening, even close to this cusp, and that's going to be Salisbury over to Concord, down to Gastonia, even Charlotte will have a chance for storms heading into the early evening. Severe threat is mainly just for damaging winds. No others designated by the Storm Prediction Center in the near term. See on and off showers and storms starting as early as 2 around Burke County, and then it's really north of Charlotte. The most of this activity is continuing by the latter part of the evening. It's officially out of our hair. Temperatures back to the lower 90s with a rain chance mainly west of Charlotte for your Friday, and then on and off storm chances for your Saturday, Sunday before we're back to the upper 70s. Majestic, what's going on this morning for traffic?
Good morning, everyone. Well, if you're heading out for your Thursday morning, we'll start with this. Here's some of our drive times. It's going to take you a while to get into Charlotte. 53 minutes if you're coming in from Gastonia, 68 out towards Salisbury, and 30 for Belmont. You can see it is a gorgeous start to the day, though plenty of sunshine. Area roadways are definitely getting jam-packed now that we are just about at 8:30 this morning. Still a few accidents to let you know about. We did have a stalled vehicle that was backing things up out towards Matthews, but 485 right around Matthews is still showing a whole lot of red, indicating stop and go conditions. We do have this crash here though on Albemarle Road and Blair Road. We'll have more coming up on WCNC Plus.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Megan Bragg. A crime alert this morning. Take a look at your screen right now. York County deputies are asking for your help in identifying these two suspects. Police say there were 2 robberies in the past week at the same place on Fieldbrook Road in Rock Hill. Security cameras captured this image of the suspects. Now, if you do have any information in this case, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers.
Tonight, parents in Clover, you have the opportunity to sound off. Schools there facing some big growing pains with hundreds of new students enrolling each year.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards joins us live in studio. And Destiny, school districts are having trouble keeping up.
Yeah, and families will have their chance to weigh in on these major changes in person tonight. The district is holding the first of 3 public forums on new attendance lines that will impact nearly every school as Clover prepares to open 3 new campuses in 2026. The Clover School District is growing fast, adding up to 300 students a year. To keep up, 3 new schools will open next year, and the district recently unveiled draft maps showing how attendance lines could shift. The new Liberty Hill Elementary is expected to open with about 800 students, helping balance out the other elementary schools. Roosevelt Middle will reduce crowding at Clover and Oak Ridge Middle Schools, and Clover High, now packed with more than 2,800 students, will split with Lake Wiley High, leaving both schools well below capacity by 2027. District leaders are asking families to weigh in now so their voices can help shape the new attendance zones before they're finalized.
When you have 8 elementary schools, you would think that's really just going to be a certain part of your community, but almost every school's zone is going to be touched. There may be minor touches in some, but almost every school zone is going to change in some way.
Tonight's forum starts at 6 p.m. at Oak Ridge Middle School. 2 more sessions are scheduled for September 11th at Clover Middle School and September 16th at the District Auditorium. Those start at 6 p.m. as well. Families can also give feedback online. We have a link where you can do so in this story on the WCNC News app. And then the school board is expected to vote on final attendance boundaries on September 22nd.
All right, Destiny, thanks so much for that live report. Let's check in now with Chris to find out more about our forecast and the chance for storms for a few of us.
Yeah, it really depends where you are. I think a lot of us are going to be dealing with a perfectly sunny sky most of the day, just picking up a few clouds during the afternoon, while others are going to see on and off rain and thunderstorms heading into the afternoon. So the first signs of rain we're seeing well off towards the west, and that's really filled in the gaps right around Asheville. And I don't think you're really going to see this work its way into the Charlotte area really for at least the morning time. And then in the afternoon, you will have a better chance for a storm or two. So lining this up, there's Futurecast did pick up on those bands of rain. I think this is going to fade out slowly as it pushes north of I-40. And then we get ready for our first chance for storms. It's right around 2. Notice where it's forming a similar zone either side of Burke County, it looks like, and then it slowly pushes its way further off towards the east. I think it really starts to hit its peak maturity where we have the most strong storms by the conclusion of the afternoon heading into the evening. So really 4 to 8 looks to be the best chance for a stronger thunderstorm, but this is too close to comfort for Charlotte. So if you have any plans during the late afternoon, early evening, same time frame, might even go a little bit later, about 4 to 10 for Charlotte in general, you're going to have a chance for passing storms, especially the further north that you go overall. And then by tomorrow, you're starting to see the cloud cover break up a little bit, and your Friday does have a chance for rain, but I do think it's going to avoid the Charlotte area the way things are looking right now. Seeing storms to the west, things start to move in. Maybe we cloud things up a little bit more for the afternoon. I think a better chance maybe during your Friday evening compared to the afternoon. And then for your Saturday, same thing goes. I think we're dry for the first half, but then we actually see a line of thunderstorms. This looks to be the prefrontal boundary before a front rolls on. And I think it's the western side of the viewing area that you yet again see some of the stronger showers and thunderstorms. And then it starts to fade out as it crosses the I-77 corridor, but all of us will have a chance for storms. This, I think, is the best chance for rain in Charlotte in general over the next 7 days. And then once this pushes its way off towards the east, we'll have some lingering clouds heading into Sunday. Sunday is still a big question mark where things are going to go just because of the cloud cover and where the front is going to adjust itself. That's going to keep some rain chances around as well. Our 7-day forecast showing the mid 80s for today, lower 90s on Friday and Saturday. So enjoy summer. It is technically summer on the calendar, we get that. But as far as how we feel come Sunday, looks to be really a mostly cloudy day with a few areas of sunshine by the afternoon. Slight chance for a little bit of rain, but look at those temperatures. The upper 70s to around 80 degrees, and those lows also dropping back down to the mid to the upper 50s. Get used to this because September is notorious for ups and downs, and that could occasionally lead to some periods of some severe storms. That's why areas to the northwest under a low risk for severe weather. As for the Charlotte area, it's very low chance, especially the further southeast that you go. Let's see what our chances are for a delay for your morning commute with Majestic.
All right, good morning, everyone. Well, it's a beautiful start to the day, that's for sure. We have a whole lot of sunshine outside, but we also have a handful of accidents that are still ongoing. This is I-77. The camera's not frozen. It's just a still frame right there. A few things, though, that really are slowing things down are just these accidents and these typical backups. You add it together, all of a sudden, it's taking you 50 minutes to get in From Gastonia, it's taking you over an hour to get in from Salisbury. We do have those delays along I-77, I-85. We're used to that, even 485, but we also have just a handful of crashes. Right here, we did have a stalled vehicle a little earlier out towards Matthews that was since cleared, but you can still see all of that red, meaning that cars are moving very, very slowly, mainly on the outer loop of 485. Just to the north, we have a crash here. It's on Albemarle Road at Blair Road. That's where we do have that yellow popping up, meaning that there are some medium impacts. This accident is still ongoing. It is out towards Church Road and University City Boulevard. Not seeing significant delays, but you'll probably see it if you're heading out that way. And then finally, this lane is blocked because of a crash. It's on Pleasant Grove Road and Brookshire Boulevard. Megan.
All right, thanks, Majestic. Folks in York County are seeing some relief after a boil water advisory is finally lifted. Officials first issued the advisory following a water main break in Fort Mill Saturday evening. The break happened near Highway 21 in Cawthorpe Row when an old pipe ruptured. And stay with us. We'll be back in about 2 minutes after the break.
The time is now 8:39. An update this morning for parents. CMS releasing a statement saying its connection issues continue. The district is actively working with its vendor to resolve this as quickly as possible. We told you yesterday there is a problem with the school filtering system when its devices that are issued to students, like those Chromebooks, are off the CMS network. That means the students could have a problem connecting to the internet outside of school.
And speaking of CMS, the district celebrating historic gains in student achievement. Yesterday, district leaders revealed their historic 2024 to 2025 accountability results. It shows how CMS compares to other school districts across the state.
Of the 175 schools that receive a growth score and a school performance grade, 156, that's 89.1% of Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools met or exceeded growth last year. This is the highest number and percent of schools meeting or exceeding growth in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools history. And of course, a significant increase over the 146 schools that met or exceeded growth last year. Of the 150 schools, 6 schools meeting or exceeding growth, 115, that's 65.7%, exceeded growth last year. This is also the highest number and percent of schools exceeding growth in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools history.
CMS officials highlighted dramatic improvements across nearly every measure of student performance. 70% of Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools earned a school performance grade of A, B, or C. CMS leaders also outlined how they plan to maintain progress within the classroom.
Looking forward, our plan is to continue to build on this foundation. We will refine how we use data, provide professional learning to strengthen small group and arts integrated instruction, and deepen our partnerships with families and community organizations.
CMS now ranks 10th out of 115 public school districts statewide for schools meeting growth targets, the highest ranking in district history.
While Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools made significant gains overall, some schools, though, aren't performing as well. District leaders say several schools received grades of D or F for the last academic year. As WCNC Charlotte's Siobhan Riley explains, some say there is still a long way to go.
Beth Daniel, who's a former teacher, says though she's relieved CMS experienced historic academic progress last school year, she still worries about the schools that receive D and F grades.
Try to figure out what's wrong. Why are they performing that poorly?
And look what happened.
CMS Chief Strategy and Innovation Officer Beth Thompson says despite the schools that experience shortfalls, there's still significant progress.
30% received a letter grade of D or F, a decrease of 11.7%. And 55 schools improved their school performance grade from the 23-24 to 24-25 school year.
Data from the previous school year reveals CMS saw a total of 6 F-rated schools.
When North Carolina looks at the combination of the measures we've just reviewed, school growth and school performance grades, and sees that schools aren't growing students at the accelerated rate needed to make significant enough increase in proficiency, students receive a designation called low performing.
Daniel says based on her experience as a former high school teacher, several factors can impact a student's performance in the classroom.
Kids come to school with a lot of problems, and so sometimes what's going on at home affects how they do in school.
And it is important to note 31 schools no longer have a state low performing designation. CMS saw historic numbers with 89.1% of the district meeting or exceeding growth. Back to you.
Siobhan Riley with that report. And a lot of parents are interested in those things when you think about, where you want your kids to go to school and how the public schools are performing. All right, well, coming up, fall cleaning or spring cleaning. Here why doctors say both seasons call for a fresh start. 8:46 now. Let's talk about cleaning, because when you think deep cleaning, you probably think about spring and that typical spring cleaning. But doctors say there are major benefits in fall cleaning.
That's right. And we're taking a look at the everyday impact fall cleaning can have on allergies.
With the cooler temperatures, it feels like the time for pumpkin spice football and the changing of the leaves. But doctors say it's also peak time for fall allergies. In North Carolina, the Carolina Asthma and Allergy Center says fall allergies are primarily driven by ragweed, with other weeds and mold spores contributing to that runny nose and itchy eyes. Cleveland Clinic allergist Dr. Sandra Hong says the best thing to do to keep allergies down is to do a deep clean.
I ask families to focus on their kitchens, their bathrooms, their basements, anywhere that there can be standing water, because those areas can actually harbor mold.
Hong suggests cleaning the bedroom and changing sheets frequently, and to change the air filters. The American College of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology suggests keeping windows closed, and if you're outside, make sure to take a shower and wash your clothes to help clear pollen. Megan Bragg, WCNC Charlotte.
Thanks a lot, Megan. Let's get right to it. We are looking at a decent amount of rain off towards the west. Now, this is pushing its way due east, just north of I-40, and that's where we're going to see a majority of the rain overall. And then it's also our northwestern viewing area that is currently dealing with a little bit of our fog right along I-40 as well. And then you're going to be seeing on and off showers and storms throughout the day as well. So it was that was frozen on me. All right, here we go. So where the rain's going to go, for one, if you live from Gastonia north and northwest, that's where we have the best chance for showers and storms. But realistically, I think it's either side of the I-40 corridor where most of this activity is going to be. By the way, the fact of the morning is this is our first severe weather risk where we had at least a low risk per the Storm Prediction Center since August 1st. It has been a while, right? Here's a look at our futurecast. Check it out. 2 o'clock, we start to see a developing shower or storm. Things become a little bit more numerous once you get a little bit closer to about the 4 to 8 o'clock time frame, pushing its way off towards the east, but it could dip as far south as around Gastonia, Charlotte, and Concord. That's late afternoon heading into the early evening before things start to fizzle out. But if I showed you a different model, this one has been a little less aggressive for a lot of these systems, but it has the exact same timing. It just keeps more activity around the I-40 corridor. So if you live in Hickory, Statesville, Taylorsville, you're going to see rain and storms later today, heading into the evening. The further south you go, well, less likely you're going to see anything. Rock Hill, our South Carolina counties, you're not really going to be seeing too much for today. Then we wait for our next rain chance, and that looks to be Saturday, heading into Saturday evening, and then we're just going to have some very light and isolated shower and storm chances thereafter. Tomorrow, I think all in all, it's going to be a mostly sunny day and a hot day. Temperatures getting into the lower 90s, realistically feeling hotter than that. And our ghost pepper forecast for 7 o'clock, one of the last Friday games that we have, taking on the Blue Crabs. It should be nice and dry, but there is a slight chance for rain by the end of the game. But 86 today will feel like 87. Our peak heat indices for Friday and Saturday really in the mid-90s. So this isn't anything really astronomical, but when you were talking about comfortable days in the lower 80s, yeah, this is a big kind of shock and awe to the system. So moving into your Friday, yeah, I do see some activity here on the Futurecast, like seeing a few of these green dots. I'm not really worried about those. Any storm potential, I think, is going to be from Shelby up to Taylorsville. So not everyone's rain-free. I just think, yet again, the I-77 and Charlotte area is going to be A-OK. By the evening, this is what we're talking about. That's a better chance for a spotty shower to brush by just during the day you're dry. And then for your Saturday itself, before 2, you're good. Before 2, I don't really think that we have too much to worry about here, at least in the greater Charlotte area from Lincolnton down to Monroe. But then as early as noon to 2, this is going to be up in the mountains and the foothills. So I keep on saying and almost repeating myself, it's just that the further northwest you go, that's where most of the rain is, and that starts to fall apart the closer you get to around Charlotte. And the same thing goes for your Saturday. A little bit higher potential north of Charlotte, less potential south of Charlotte. That's just the way things are really developing, and eventually that cold front will move its way down towards the south, locking some clouds into place. High temperatures in the lower 90s won't last long. So we go from fall to summer, then immediately back to fall. The upper 70s take over the long-range forecast Sunday through the middle of next week, with mid to the upper 50s for lows returning, just as we had 3 days previously. Let's get over to Majestic. Hopefully things are improving since the last time we talked.
Yeah, slowly but surely getting a little bit better. It's beautiful outside, though, if you are just tuning in and waking up. It's a nice start to our Thursday. I-77 seems to be flowing just fine right there at Atondo Ave. However, here's some of our drive times. This morning, if you're coming in from Gastonia, it's going to take you 46 minutes, 63 though coming in from Salisbury. This has been kind of a slow moving morning. Lots of people out on those area roadways, but we also have a handful of accidents to let you know about. 485, the inner loop out towards Matthews, all red right here, meaning stop and go traffic. Just to the north of it, this one is still ongoing as well. It's a crash at Albemarle Road in Blair Road. As we head even more to the north here, it's a crash on Bat Creek Church Road at University City Boulevard. That yellow, I'm watching that carefully, meaning that there are some minimal impacts there just off of 485. And then to the west, you can see this lane is still blocked. I've been keeping a close eye on this one for a while now. Still not completely cleared. Lane blocked due to a crash. This one is on Pleasant Grove Road and Brookshire Boulevard. Those are the biggest things that you need to know as you're heading out the door this morning. It is slow moving still, but it does look a little bit better than where we were just about 20 to 30 minutes ago. Back to you guys.
The NFL season kicks off tonight, and the Carolina Panthers are preparing for their first game on Sunday.
Sports director Nick Carboni talked with one-on-one with Locked On's Julian Council about the Panthers' chances of making the playoffs.
Hey. Are you buying or selling? The Panthers will be in the hunt past the bye week, which is late. It's week 14.
A lot of times when you see that graphic, you see teams that are like 5-9.
And they're still in the hunt.
And they're in the hunt. So, I mean, Carolina, I'm trying to do the math, 5-9. Like, they could be in the hunt. And, well, I guess they would, yeah. They could be in the hunt and be like a 6-7 team at that point in time, which certainly you would think. So, I will buy this because I can buy that on Sunday Night Football here on WCNC at some point in December, they will have the Panthers on that graphic because I don't think this is going to be a team that stays right there at that 5-win mark this upcoming season. I do think that they will make the improvements on both sides of the ball, that they have made the improvements on both sides of the ball to where they can get a lot closer to no longer 500, but to that 8-9 if things really go well, mark this upcoming season, and that will then have them in the hunt. And also understand, I mean, this is the NFC South. So I do think there's a possibility, even with the wild card, for them to be in the hunt. And again, that graphic gives a lot of people the opportunity. So I can buy that for sure.
And of course, you can watch much more of the Panthers countdown to kickoff right now, right here on WCNC Plus, as well as the WCNC YouTube page. It doesn't stop there. We'll also have extended Panthers coverage right here on WCNC Plus all season long. And of course, starting tonight at 9, our own Eugene Robinson is going to be joining us here on WCNC Plus. Now, the Panthers kick off the season this Sunday in Jacksonville, as we have been saying, going up against the Jaguars. And Chris, I know you think that they are going to make it to the playoffs.
That was before the preseason. Suddenly, I'm losing confidence, but I'm going to stick with it because I'm stubborn.
Hey, you were so confident.
I was very confident, but then I saw the team, and but no, I truly think that they do have a lot of upside. Plus, I was just riding with this whole like J-Lo first game with the Jaguars, Ohio State winning conspiracy theory. But hey, maybe it will come true. No, but I think there's a lot of hope here. I know this sounds bad, but it's only up from here. And the Saints aren't good this year, so that's one they play twice, so that's good news. The Falcons are kind of on the fence, so I think there's a lot of beatable teams, and they have a good strength of schedule that we can get to that outlandish claim that I said they're going to make the playoffs.
They're not playing the Eagles, obviously the last Super Bowl winner.
That's good.
So there's that. So, all right. We'll see.
Let's go.
Okay. Week by week.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but you keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're going to have another update on weather and traffic in the broadcast side. And then starting at 9, we'll have more streaming here on WCNC Plus from our live Impact News studio.
Well, good morning, everybody. Temperatures will be in the lower 70s before you know it, and we're rocking the mid-80s through much of the day. Lots of sunshine to go around as well, but we will see an increasing storm chance really north and northwest of the Charlotte area, but a good chance to stay dry today and again tomorrow. Best chance for rain that we have of the week is this coming Saturday. Temperatures in the lower 90s each day, and then a big drop out behind a strong cold front. That's going to bring temperatures back down to the upper 70s. Just wow status. Majestic, take it away.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. We're off to a beautiful start to the day. Area roadways nice and dry. Grab those sunglasses. You will want them this morning. Drive times are still taking you a little while from Gastonia to Charlotte. 44 minutes, 62 though if you're coming in from Salisbury, so plan accordingly. We still have a handful of accidents out there. Most of Independence is looking okay, but 485, the inner loop out towards Matthews, we're talking about completely red. That's stop and go traffic. Just to the north of it, we have this active crash. It's on Creek Church Road at University City Boulevard. Keep that in mind. Drive safe and hope you have a great rest of your day.